Hello everyone, welcome to AWS reInvent. How is everyone doing today? My name is Dr. Watson G. Srivatsan. I'm the product manager of Amazon Translate. We got a great topical presentation for you. Today I'm going to talk about how to share information by removing language barriers with Amazon Translate. In this session, we will show you how to use Amazon Translate to work beyond the confines of languages. Just take a look at our reInvent setup here. We are here attending this AWS reInvent virtually because of the pandemic. So I'm going to take COVID-19 as an example for my presentation. In this presentation, we go in detail and describe the information challenge posed by COVID-19. Identify the task of spreading accurate information quickly. We will talk about speed-accuracy trade-off, why doing things correctly usually takes time, and how AWS AI products can help you. We will demo how we tackle the speed-accuracy trade-off with AWS products. Before we wrap up, we will talk about how we can use Amazon Translate to bridge the language barrier. Earlier this year, during a meeting with the leaders of the WHO, Jeff Bezos was asked if Amazon and AWS could assist with a solution to make WHO training courses available in many languages. I would like to show how AWS was able to use Amazon Transcribe and Amazon Translate to help remove language barriers and ensure that critical information was made available to healthcare professionals worldwide. COVID-19 is a new disease. New details of this novel disease was constantly emerging. Scientific research happened only in a few countries such as the United States, countries in Europe and Asia that host research centers of excellence. We rely on the centers of excellence to give the latest and the relevant information on COVID-19. Research centers speak the language native to their location, such as English, Chinese, and French. However, COVID-19 is a truly global pandemic, affecting people speaking almost every known language. Lack of access to correct information from credible sources lead to people spreading untested ideas for solution. This is dangerous and hurts our collective efforts to fight COVID-19. This need for access to correct information from credible source has both time and geographical dimension. People need relevant information soon. People need information in every language. I'm going to pick one of the many projects that Amazon Translate was involved in to demonstrate how Amazon Translate reduced the language barrier. One of the many items discussed in Jeff Bezos' talk with the World Health Organization earlier this year was how WHO, a public health organization, can collaborate with AWS to accelerate knowledge transfer during health emergencies. One particular task was how Amazon and AWS could assist with the transcription and translation of WHO videos in their knowledge catalog. Part of the knowledge catalog includes content on a site called OpenWHO, where public health organizations, healthcare professionals, and others can access training courses about healthcare topics, especially those on COVID-19. Public health organizations across the world speak different languages, and we need to create captions and subtitles for videos to make them searchable and accessible immediately from anywhere. So our task was to quickly and accurately translate video contents to create these subtitles. The subtitles educate viewers of different languages on how to respond to emerging threats caused by COVID-19. Success here is measured by increasing accuracy and speed of subtitle creation to enable knowledge transfer. Here we confront Fitts' law. Fitts' law talks about the speed-accuracy trade-off in human performance. As in many human-performed tasks, the more precisely the task is to be accomplished, the slower it is. Conversely, the faster the task is completed, the less precisely the task tends to be performed. As we begin to design automation around this use case, let's start with some measurable goals. OpenWHO platform has mostly videos under 30 minutes in length, and they want to reduce the time to produce subtitles from days to hours. So speed will be our very first metric, and we will measure the speed as the time it takes to create subtitle tracks in all desired languages to the point that they are ready for publication. Our other metric is accuracy of the translation. We measure accuracy of translation using word error rate. Word error rate measures the number of corrections a professional translator has to make divided by the overall word count of the subtitles. In many cases, improving speed comes at the expense of accuracy. In this important case, however, any impact to quality is just not an option. Now that we have our metrics, let's take a look at the manual workflow and establish our baseline. Creating captions from a video and producing translated subtitles is labor-intensive. It is difficult to align editors, volunteers, project managers, transcriptionists, and translators for creating these subtitles. On an average, including the overhead it takes 1 person day to create subtitles for a 30-minute video in each language. Translators who are familiar with COVID-19 content were and are in demand. Translation reviews may require more than 1 person per language to ensure a high level of accuracy. Mistakes done during transcription often gets propagated into translations, especially when the translator isn't familiar with the language in the video. This happens often, especially when there are pivot languages. Say, for instance, you want to translate an English video to a language spoken in Ivory Coast, say Dayuala. Many times it is difficult to find a translator familiar with both the languages. You first translate the English video to French and then to Dayuala. Errors discovered late in the process may require restarting the whole manual process all over again. Let's first look at how we can increase the speed of creating subtitles using machine learning. For our case study, we will be using AWS AI Service to build our automation. We will use Transcribe to analyze the speech in videos to generate a text transcript and translate to convert the text from one language to another. Let's take a closer look at these services. The captioning workflow I'm going to show you makes use of Amazon Transcribe to convert speech to text. Amazon Transcribe has 2 modes of operations. Real-time for interactive applications where it takes parts of an audio stream as they are generated and returns a stream of texts. And batch mode for stored videos where it takes the complete video file and returns the transcripts with timestamps. We are going to use batch mode in this demo. We then use Amazon Translate to convert text in one language to text in another language. Amazon Translate is a neural machine translation service that performs fluent and accurate translations by understanding the context. Like Amazon Transcribe, Amazon Translate has 2 modes, real-time and batch. Real-time is for interactive applications such as chat and communications, and batch mode is for translating large sets of documents as a whole. In this demo, we will use the batch mode. Let me describe the data transformation that we did to create subtitles. We use Amazon Transcribe to create a time series of words with punctuations. We clip the captioning to match the changes, to match the transcription as the scene changes. Many times, these clippings happen in the middle of the sentence. Amazon Translate requires complete sentences to perform translation, so we cannot just submit the individual captions separately for translation. Amazon Translate is capable of handling HTML tags during translations, so by reinserting these tags in the right location in the translated output. We use this tag handling capability of Amazon Translate to handle timestamps. Because different languages have different ordering of subject, object, and predicate, caption timing may get misplaced during translation. For the most part, the timestamp is put back in place in the right location. Using automation, we are able to increase the speed of subtitling from days to a few minutes. Well, we would love to end our story here. However, the accuracy may not be good enough. Especially for pandemic-related education content, any impact to accuracy is just not an option. Automation certainly increases the speed, but one cannot guarantee the accuracy of subtitling with just automation. Common problems with transcriptions are most machines aren't trained on new terms. For example, a word like COVID-19 never existed before the summer of 2019. We also have possibilities of similar sounding words such as one-to-many or one-too-many. Speaker accent and intonation can affect the transcription quality. Errors in transcription get propagated to translation. In the beginning of 2020, Amazon Translate wasn't trained to translate new terms such as COVID-19. Furthermore, many words or phrases do not have direct translations from one language to another. We are better off having a person correct the output of transcription and translation to maintain a very high bar for subtitling accuracy. Having a professional review the translated subtitle is faster than asking a person to do the subtitling from scratch. This method creates highly accurate subtitling while improving the speed of the process. Anyhow, some problems with machine-generated results are repeated throughout the content and must be corrected over and over again. Now let's see if there is a way to teach Amazon Translate and Amazon Transcribe so that we don't have to make the same correction again and again. Amazon Translate and Amazon Transcribe provide the ability to customize machine output. This maximizes the efficiency of the human translator, so they spend less time correcting mistakes and more time enhancing the quality of the final product, capturing the nuance of the message being conveyed. In Amazon Transcribe, you can use custom vocabulary to teach the machine to learn new phrases that occur often and automatically have them transcribed correctly the next time. Here you can see how we teach Transcribe to spell COVID-19. Similarly, you can use custom terminology to teach Amazon Translate to translate new terms and terminologies from one language to another. Here you can see how we teach Amazon Translate to handle the word COVID-19 correctly in Chinese. Custom terminology helps to translate named entities correctly. But what would you do if you want your Amazon Translate to learn from your post edits? Amazon Translate recently introduced Active Custom Translation, ACT, last month, November 2020. Use Amazon ACT if you want Amazon Translate to continuously learn from your post-edit styles. With these features, you can avoid making the same corrections to transcriptions and translations over and over again. Use custom vocabulary and custom terminology and now active custom translation. This saves time and increases the speed of subtitle creation. This workflow makes use of human-in-the-loop HITL feedback effectively to continuously improve the quality of machine translation and transcription. This reduces the number of instances a professional has to intervene to correct the subtitles. This process enables us to distribute life-saving information quicker. Every second counts in our collective fight against the global pandemic. We notice that the work we are doing with WHO should benefit everyone who wants to use AWS technology to take their video message across the language barriers. So our team at AWS Media and Insights org has put together an open source framework that enables everyone with an AWS account to replicate this solution in their environment. Please note, you may incur charges for the services you use to run this demo. Let's start the demo by following the link here to the GitHub page for AWS Labs Media Insights Engine. Here you land at the GitHub page of Media Insights Engine. Media Insights Engine is a development framework for building serverless applications that processes videos, images, audios, and texts on AWS. Let's follow the instructions and launch a CloudFormation stack at US West, Oregon. Follow the stack creation process. For this demo, we have already created a stack here at Oregon, and we have it as MIE3. You can look for the web app URL at the outputs in the Media Insights web app URL. And when you click here, you go to the page that this CloudFormation stack creates. On this page, you'll find all the videos that you have processed before for transcription and translation. Let's click on the first video. This video talks about how to clean and disinfect your home if someone in your home has COVID-19. You can see that the video is already transcribed, and if you click on the subtitles tab, these transcriptions have a timestamp and change with the scenes. If you click on the translations tab, the subtitles are translated to Chinese and Russian. Let's first look at the subtitles. This thing right here is pretty awesome because you don't have to start the subtitling process from scratch. All you have to do is review the subtitles and make corrections as necessary. The first thing you see here is the COVID-19, that they're talking about the COVID-19, and it is not transcribed correctly. Let's make the corrections right there. We scroll down, there are other places where COVID-19 is called out and the transcription is not correct, and we can make the updates. You'll also find that the website cdc.gov/coronavirus is not transcribed properly, and let's make the corrections there as well. After you make all the corrections, you can save the edits by clicking here. Clicking the Save Edits starts the translation process again. Now, the corrected transcription is used to translate into Chinese and Russian. Before we go there, we may want to save these corrections for the next job. Here, we use custom vocabulary to save these vocabularies and corrections for the next time. Here, it has a list of all the corrections we made. And words like only and electronics are not going to happen very often, so you can remove them. Whereas words like coronavirus and CDC are going to show up very often, so you can leave them there. You can either create a vocabulary from scratch or append to an existing vocabulary. In this case, let's append this to an existing vocabulary. After saving this vocabulary, let us click on Save Edits. By clicking on Save Edits, you again kick off a translation job. After a few minutes, the translation is complete. So if you go in to the translation of Chinese, you will see that the updates we made to COVID-19 and the website are passed through. So I know from talking to my friends that COVID-19 is not written in Latin in Chinese, and it is not even called COVID-19. It's called as Guangshang Bingdu Bing. Pardon my Chinese pronunciation. But what we can do is, instead of starting the translation from scratch, all we have to do is make edits to the Chinese translation, make the corrections, and we are good to go. Now we want to train this tool to learn from our edits, and for that we can save these corrections using custom terminology. Now we are saving the custom terminology here. You can either create a new terminology here or append it to an existing terminology, and then you can click Save. You can see here that we did the transcription and the translation of the whole work in a few minutes instead of multiple days. And the accuracy of this transcription and translation is as good as the reviewer has determined. Here we use the power of AWS AI to improve the speed of translation and transcription. Now let's see whether we can teach the Amazon Transcribe and Amazon Translate to learn from our corrections and make sure that we don't make the same corrections over and over again. For this, I have run two new jobs uh, about faith leaders' positive role model in uh, in COVID-19. Here you have the two jobs placed side by side, and you can see the one on my left does not use any custom vocabulary for transcription, whereas here the custom vocabulary is used for transcription. Likewise, for translation, there is no terminology used, whereas here we use custom terminology on the right. Let's look at the transcripts here. Wherever you find the COVID-19 being called out, it's written COV in 19, whereas you can see here the COVID-19 is transcribed correctly. This is a classic case where Amazon Transcribe and Transcribe learned from our previous corrections, took that learning through custom vocabulary and implemented changes. Likewise, let's look at the translation. You can find various places where cove in 19 or with 19, because it is not transcribed correctly, is not translated. The error is propagated. Whereas if you look through the translations here, you don't see the same mistakes. You don't see the 19 called out anywhere. So this is another place where you don't have to make the same corrections for translations. Using custom vocabulary and custom terminology, we are able to provide feedback to Amazon Transcribe and Amazon Translate to learn from our edits. This reduces the number of corrections made during the subtitle translation process, thereby making it faster. In this demo, we created an application that brings human in the loop for subtitle creation. We captured the corrections made by me acting as the professional, making the corrections, and used the corrections to continuously improve the results of automation over time, making significant improvements to the speed of subtitle creation while maintaining the highest accuracy. Now let's hear from the Head of Learning and Capacity Development of Health Emergencies Program at the World Health Organization, Dr. Gaya Manori Gamhewaje. Let's listen on how WHO used AWS services to accelerate the knowledge transfer in health emergencies using Amazon Transcribe and Amazon Translate.
The COVID-19 pandemic has created an unprecedented demand for knowledge on how the pandemic arose, what we can do to protect ourselves, how health workers can take care of the sick and be safe at the same time. And this acceleration of knowledge transfer in health emergencies is a very good entry point for us to talk about how we can merge and collaborate as a public health organization with technological advances that are happening in the 21st century. We were fortunate enough to have already established the openwho.org platform in 2017. The platform is WHO's online learning platform for health emergencies. Currently, we have more than 100 courses. We have 2 million plus unique users, and 4.5 million enrollments in the courses on the platform. Since January, my team has worked really hard to massively scale up the trainings that are available online on the OpenWHO platform. As you can see, here are some of the courses that are related to COVID-19. And the most popular course is obviously Introduction to COVID-19 with more than 800,000 enrollments. A close second is Infection Prevention and Control. What's really interesting is that we applied a set of values and principles that we have for equity in how people have access to life-saving knowledge and information. To do that, we had to remove many barriers, and one of the biggest barriers was language. We know, and research shows, that people prefer and are more able to internalize and apply knowledge that is in their own language. So my team has taken a massive effort to make available life-saving knowledge, our courses, in multiple languages. This is where some of our challenges are. First, each step of the production requires heavy manual efforts. Some of this is quite expensive in terms of money and in terms of time. Second, it's really challenging to keep high proficiency in the multilingual operation. We have to communicate between editors, volunteers, translators, project managers, and this is extremely time-consuming. And of course, there's opportunity and the risk of miscommunication. Having different collaborators on board each time makes it hard to keep consistency in translation. And it's also very difficult to manage content with simultaneous changes. As you know, new knowledge becomes available during the pandemic, and we have to update the content, and this has to be translated very quickly. While trainings in multiple languages really help generate impact in countries, producing multilingual content is filled with opportunity for improvement. We have an ongoing exploration with AWS to design and automate the flow, taking us from where we were before to where we want to be. We want to streamline all activities required for translation and transcription processes. We want to make it more robust, more agile. We want to reduce human interface to avoid potential errors at each step. The possible solution looks like a plug and play function that could easily be triggered on the OpenWHO platform, hopefully by one click. Here's a quick overview of the ongoing development. Terminology tab enables users to identify errors caused by machine and save the correct terminology in the repository for future usage. The translation function leverages the AWS translation service. Using machine translation for knowledge transfer activities in public health has great potential, but requires continuous research and actions, and we are in the testing phase of this flow. The final solution will be shared to the community. This pandemic has provided unprecedented opportunities to innovate and to make the fruits of technology available to increasingly large numbers of people. The principle of equity is important to anyone who works in public health. For the World Health Organization, the OpenWHO platform, and the technological advances we are making in collaboration with partners such as AWS must help remove barriers such as cost, language, and digital access. We want anyone, anywhere to access life-saving knowledge to protect themselves and their loved ones. I have great hopes for this collaboration with AWS, and I thank the AWS team for the work we have done so far.
Thank you, Doctor. Now let's explore what you can do with Amazon Translate to bridge the language gap and accelerate knowledge transfer. Amazon Translate is a fast, high-quality neural machine translation service that supports translations across 71 languages and counting. You can use Amazon Translate to localize content such as document translation and captions and subtitles to spread your information from one language to another. You can enable Amazon Translate in your communication software, such as email and chat platforms, to bridge the communication gap between your stakeholders who speak different languages. You can harness the power of Amazon Translate to search, understand, and analyze materials written in different languages to make informed decisions and perform regulatory due diligence. We recommend that you start a POC to test out the accuracy benefits that your business can see using Amazon Translate. AWS experts, solutions architect, and partners can help you with a POC. Let me sign off by asking you an important question. What are you going to build with AWS? Thank you very much. Cheers and stay safe.